There is a famous folk tale written by the Danish author Hans Christian Andersen called The Emperor's New Clothes, where an emperor who has an obsession with fancy new clothes is told by two conmen that they've made him clothes that are invisible to stupid people. Not wanting to seem dumb, everyone, including the emperor, pretends they can see the clothes. He parades naked through the city until a child shouts, "King is naked!" Welcome to Sleuthing Scams. And today, we'll be discussing, is America an actual superpower? It takes a lot of effort, time, and heart to bring these videos for you, so kindly hit that subscribe button. June 13th, 2025. Over 200 Israeli fighter jets penetrated Iranian airspace, targeting more than 100 locations, including nuclear facilities and military bases. This was part of Israel's bold Rising Lion mission. The strike followed a leaked confidential report by the UN's nuclear watchdog, the IAEA, which revealed Iran now possesses over 400 kilograms of enriched uranium, enough for 10 nuclear bombs. But Iran didn't retreat. They retaliated the very same night. For several days, the two nations exchanged strikes, and then US President Donald Trump stepped in. His message to Iran was loud and clear: unconditional surrender.
President Trump tonight imploring Iran to surrender unconditionally.
President Trump has called for Iran's unconditional surrender.
He even claimed he knew the location of Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei and called him an easy target. The world braced for a full regime change. After all, this was the global superpower threatening a country under decades of US sanctions. But just hours later, Iran publicly rejected the demand and warned of brutal consequences if the US intervened. On June 19th, Trump doubled down and gave Iran 2 weeks to reach an agreement with Washington. Iran still refused to back down. Just 2 days after the 14-day ultimatum, the US launched airstrikes using bunker-buster bombs.
U.S. military struck 3 sites in Iran,
including Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan,
directly joining Israel's effort to decapitate the country's nuclear program.
Trump appeared on national media, declaring the mission a success.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
But the very next day, Iran struck back.
A missile attack from Iran on a U.S. military base in Qatar.
The move is the apparent response to U.S. military strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities over the weekend.
Trump later stated that the U.S. had been warned in advance. And then, a dramatic shift.
President Trump has called for peace tonight following an attack by Iran on a U.S. military airbase.
The president says the agreement involves 2 12-hour ceasefire periods.
Trump posted on social media announcing a complete ceasefire between Iran and Israel. In a matter of weeks, America's stance had gone from unconditional surrender to complete ceasefire. But the humiliation wasn't over. Iran's supreme leader, safe and sound, appeared in a video mocking America and confirming that their nuclear sites were safe and secure and suffered little to no damage. And while all this unfolded, Trump was busy on Twitter demanding a Nobel Peace Prize. He literally mentioned it 6 times in a single tweet. Weeks have passed. The Iranian regime remains intact, and even the US-based Arms Control Association revealed that the outcome strengthened Iran's nuclear program, not weakened it. If you look at the past few decades, America has been humiliated more often than it has claimed real victories. A prime example, Afghanistan. After 20 years, trillions of dollars, and thousands of lives lost, the US exited the country, only for the Taliban, its own Cold War-era creation, to take over in days. Images of desperate Afghans clinging to US aircraft went viral, symbolizing the collapse. Even worse, the Taliban mocked America by reenacting the Iwo Jima flag raising dressed in US uniforms using US weapons. Would you have imagined a time when calls from the US president would go unanswered? That happened in 2022, when President Biden asked OPEC, particularly Saudi Arabia, to increase oil production amid skyrocketing prices. Not only did they refuse, they reduced production just after his visit, a bold dismissal of American pressure. Then came Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The US demanded the world stop trading with Russia. But India and China didn't just ignore the sanctions, they increased oil imports. Even Brazil participated in alternative trade deals. Meanwhile, BRICS delivered another blow, proposing a common currency to reduce global dependence on the US dollar. And in the South, countries like Cuba and Venezuela continue to survive despite decades of American sanctions. Cuba, in fact, has become a symbol of anti-imperialist resistance. All of this has left many Americans wondering, is the US still a superpower, or just clinging to the illusion of being one? The truth is that it is its own actions that weakens its grip on the world. Just a few months ago, Donald Trump insulted his Ukrainian counterpart Zelensky in his house, and the entire Europe showed America its true place. Imagine a superpower's vice president asking a president as to how many times he has said thank you.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you?
And Zelensky, after being thrown out of the White House, went back and wrote a tweet where he mentioned the word thank you several times. It was a matter of hours how America lost the respect that took years to build. Just hours ago, the president of Ukraine was there seeking assistance from America, and hours later, he was mocking the president. And later, we all saw how Europe got united and showed their support. And they even boycotted American companies. They showed the world that nations can exist even without the support of America. Maybe they are the modern version of that child in the folktale who shouted, "King is naked." But this isn't just about international humiliation. There is a dimension to it. If you go to public and ask them for a country they can call heaven, you will see they will just be needing a good quality of life, not the most advanced bombs and military. America consistently fails to deliver a good life to its own people. America might be the strongest country in terms of military strength. Yes, it might have the biggest economy, film and music industry, and it might be the country with most Nobel Prize and Olympic medal winners. But here's what's often hidden behind that glitter. The home ownership rate is just around 60%, meaning 40% of Americans don't own a place to call home. The top 1% of Americans control over 40% of the nation's total wealth. The country has the most expensive healthcare system in the world, and obesity rates are among the highest globally. A public health crisis that no one wants to confront honestly. There are no proper gun laws. Just 2021 saw more than 100 mass shootings. America may still possess unmatched military power and global influence, but power without respect is fragile. From failed wars to rejected ultimatums, from economic sanctions that no longer bite, to allies openly defying orders, the cracks in the empire are visible. Being a superpower isn't just about bombs and billionaires. It's about credibility. And as the world evolves, perhaps America's greatest challenge isn't rising enemies, but the illusion of its own invincibility finally wearing thin. The emperor stands exposed. And with that, it's time for us to call it a day. Subscribe to our channel and don't forget to click the bell icon.